Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with a painful, time-consuming video because, as you can see, I have cleared Inferno 3 of the new Beatdown battle. This is the hardest difficulty that we're going to get. If you go into the news about the Beatdown battle, it says very clearly that, 1, this event will be added back in at a later time. Don't know when, but later time. And that there will be no more difficulty stages added to this. So this is essentially, the EX 3, 4, and 5 that we would normally get for Tempered Edge. It's just they gave it to us all at once and said, have fun, you can suffer until the rest of the meta comes out. Well, suffering I have been doing, because as it stands, I have not figured out the best team to use just the Diablo and the Rimuru together and in order to kill this. Because I can get a 600% ult and I could, buff up with the water attack from Xion, the ult buff from Shuna, the physical attack buff with Rimuru himself, and then however much ult resistance down I have. But he's pretty much my only source of damage because everyone else on that team is magic, right? So they're not benefiting from the additional physical attack down, and they're also not part of the EX thing, and they're not part of the Font of Wisdom, so they're not doing 60% extra damage, and it's just a giant pain in the ass. And I actually have not been able to beat Inferno 3 with Rimuru and Diablo together. So what I have done is I have used a completely different team to beat Inferno 3 twice, and it's relatively consistent. It is not 100% whaled out. It is fairly duped, but it is not full 100s that I would normally try and use. So that team revolves around, as it loads, stunning his bitch ass. Alright, we are using the full Light 3.0 team. Shuna, stacking Pierce Power and Stun Strike. Raphael, the Nuker. Sokka, because she is a special blue converter, and that's what the opening hand wants, so she fits in very well. And her second skill actually does have use here. Shuna, Orb Changing, Alt Buffing. Good. Milim, Orb Changing, and just attack buffing, and Light Resistance Downing. And then Valentine, Orb Changing, and then giving us that 60% light buff while being a single target. So, everyone here is magic. Yes. They are not benefiting from the minus 50% physical resistance that Rimuru has, as shown here. But you can stun him, and stun him is what you're going to have to do. And not once, not twice, but 5 times. Because after turn 4, you really can't afford to take any damage. So you must pray that you can consistently get enough blue orbs to maintain another full blue orb send the turn after, while having enough points to do a stun, which consecutively gets more expensive. So, this is the team. I have beat it twice with this team, back to back. This will be the second run, because the first run, I beat it, but I scuffed it because I didn't get all of the buffs active. I was short points, so I didn't get the light buff. Still managed to kill with the normal orbs, and the alts did almost all of his health, but this is the better run that we're going to show you, and I do have to zoom past a little bit. Alright, so here we go. So turn 1, we're orb changing with Sokka, and then we're going to bring in Valentine, we're going to bring in Milim. I believe we bring in Milim. We do not bring in Milim, no. We want to save her in the back so we can keep advantage of her orb stealing, orb changing of her own personal orbs in case someone has 4 or 5 of them. We can swap them out, which we don't really get here. Also, look at the damage that Raphael took on 1 turn, on 2 hits. It's more than a third of his HP just evaporated out of, it's gone. It's just gone. This Rimuru, Water Rimuru, has 15,000 defense and 14,000 attack. He has almost 600,000 HP. He is a tanky motherfucker that hits like a truck. So, here we go. I had Light Rimuru attached to either Valentine or Milim. Valentine. So we were able to get double stacks of Shuna right here. we were able to bring in Milim to change the orbs correctly, so now we have another full hand of blues, and that's essentially what you're going to be doing, and we're doing 1 damage. We are not killing this boy with normal orbs. We are only killing him with alts and normals on that nuking turn. That is it. So, another stack of Milim, or not Milim, Shuna, on 3 of them, because ideally you want these 3 units to be the frontline nukers, right? Milim, I think, increases Pierce power on her ult, Valentine lowers Pierce resistance on her ult, and then combine those 2 together, and then Raphael can hit just a bit harder. We do have a good hand for orbs right here. We do, since we're not planning on nuking in like turn 6, we have some wiggle room to take people away and maybe not get their ults super fast, because ideally you want to get them, as late as possible, because you don't want any extra room taken up by random ult orbs, because you're going to need all 3 of them, and I can't afford to send any of them early unless they're a unit that I'm not planning on nuking with. So it is unfortunate, but it does work out. So turn 3, he's got his defense. He loses his defense on turn 8, which is a lot to ask for a lot of players. This is 508,000 EP, and if you guys remember, the Challenge Veldora stage that just left was touted as the hardest stage in the game. That had 500k. So this is technically 8,000k EP harder than Challenge Veldora, which is saying something. So, once again, we have the orbs that we have to maintain right here, and it doesn't really work out the prettiest, alright? We used the orb change with Shuna. It didn't really get us what we wanted, so we're going to have to get her out of here. And then we're just going to have to, pray a little bit. So here, we are going to stun, because I do not want to take this ult. It will hurt a lot, it will kill Raphael, and obviously, Raphael is the primary nuker. So from turn 4 to, I believe, turn 8, stun. Keep him stunned. Don't let him do anything, just make your way, try and get points as they come. So here, we're going to send these nerfed oranges just to get them out of here, and hope that we can get a good hand, which thankfully we did. So we're going to stun again, and we have 48 points, and thankfully we haven't used Soko a lot, so she is 45 points. So we have yet again stunned, we have a full hand of blues. This gets Valentine's ult, which is great. Gets us a double protection of Shuna, also great. So now we can start phasing units in and out, because honestly, I want Raphael's ult last. Yeah, Valentine is an orb changer, so it is kind of unfortunate, but it actually works out here. So we can send her away and not have to bring her back in the non-existent line of fire, because we're going to be stunning. But now it's we stun again, and now, because we have a Valentine orb coming in, whoever comes in for Val is going to get that extra orb. So that's why we normally keep Milim in the back, because we wait for these kinds of scenarios, these kinds of opportunities. We're going to sacrifice Milim's 2 stacks for Valentine and Raphael's 2 stacks, because they are single targets and Milim is an AoE. But we're going to swap Milim in now for Valentine. That's going to make 5 orbs, which is also going to get her ult, which is good. Also 6 hand of blue, which is also good. And also, it's going to give us enough goddamn points to let us stun again and do all these shenanigans. We're swapping out Raphael because we want to make sure that we can bring him in next turn for whoever has the most orbs, because we do need to get his ult soon, within 2 turns. So we do have to be conscious of that. But as you can see, we've done almost 0 damage to this motherfucker, and we're on turn 7. He has 600,000 HP, and we've done about 20k, maybe. So, what do we do here? Well, obviously, we still have to stun. We still have to do stuff. But I'm doing calculations on the side right now, because I need to know how many points I need, because we can stun here, and then we can use Soka's skill to extend the stun into turn 8, of which then his defense will be gone. Soka's skill also lowers defense by 20% for 2 turns, which means that we can take advantage of that the next turn when we're actually ready to nuke. So here we are playing around. I do have to make sure that I can get Raphael's ult, so I have to bring him in for somebody, and that somebody is going to be Shuna, because she has 2 orbs, and if we take someone away, then she's going to have 3 orbs. So here, we will stun. We will extend the stun. It's 10% defense, sorry. 10% defense down, which, his defense will leave next turn, so then we're looking good. But now we've extended the stun. Now it's a 2 turns, so turn 7 and turn 8, he will be stunned. We will take no damage here. And now we have to make sure that we have enough points to use the rest of the buffs. The 80 point light buff, the 55 point alt buff, the 55 point attack buff, the 55 point pierce and alt resistance down. We need to make sure we have enough. And thankfully, these 2 orbs of Raphael's get us 32 points, and we needed 30. So it worked out very, very well. I'm making sure that my math is right, because this is the best run I've had so far. And I was like, alright, is this enough points? Let me add up the rest of the skills that we still need to use and make sure that we are ready to go. So we are. We're also going to send Sokka's ult, because we can see that she has an orb, Milim has an orb, Raphael has an orb, so next turn we can bring in Valentine for that 1 orange Sokka orb and make sure that we have triple ults ready to go. But I also want to send the Sokka ult just to see how much damage it does, and it does an amazing 1 damage. Congratulations. But we are on turn 8. The stun is still there. The defense down is still there. Raphael still has his pierce power, or no, his stun strike ability, because that lasts for 2 turns again. So now we bring Shuna in for her alt buff, and then we can swap her out for Valentine, and that gives us almost exactly enough points to use everything else, plus another stack of Shuna. So here we are. We're going to use the resistance down, the light buff, the attack buff, and we have 3 points left over. 3. It's incredible. We have been stunning him consistently since turn 4, and we still had enough points to run this. So I'm making sure that who does what. So we're going to send Milim first, AoE, then Val, and then finally Rimuru, Raphael, and then we'll send the greens, because that'll be the biggest combo. So Milim does, let's see, 133k on an AoE. Fairly good. Valentine, 311, and then Raphael cleans up with 432,000 HP. So technically, we didn't need Milim's ult, right? We didn't need it. We did 100k over between Valentine and Raphael, but it did work. It did work. Nobody died. The only person that's at level 100 on this team right now, except for the supports, is Sokka, because she's free. Raphael's at 92. Shuna's at 96. Water Shuna's at 96. Protector Shuna's 84. Milim is 80. And Valentine is 88. But it also does necessitate almost pretty much the entire Light 3.0 team, which people may or may not have summoned on because they weren't a fan of the stun. Right now, I've seen like 1, 2 other teams that can beat this, and they are janky as crap, and they require a disgusting amount of RNG, and I have not been able to replicate it, and honestly, like, I wouldn't wish this upon anybody. You need really, really high duped characters for them to even think about surviving enough turns. And it all still does revolve around stunning. So if you don't have Raphael or you don't have Guy, and Guy is type disadvantage, I got bad news for you. Until the rest of this meta comes out on what I expect Sunday night, Monday night, not even Diablo and Rimuru can pull it out, unless I'm just not building his team correctly, which I feel like I am, but we'll have to wait and see what the rest of the meta looks like. But if you have been able to beat this with, any other team that is not this Light 3.0 team, please post it in the comments. Let me know. I will attempt to try it out. Attempt. And then we'll go from there. But that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.